In this video, we're going to learn how to tell individual vertebra apart. So how do we know whether a vertebra comes from the cervical region, the neck, the thoracic region, the upper back, or the lumbar region, the lower back? We're going to start with our cervical vertebrae, which is this one here. The first thing we notice about our cervical vertebra is that it is smaller than the thoracic or lumbar vertebrae. It has a smaller body because it's only going to be bearing the weight of the head. We can see that this cervical vertebra has a spiked spinous process while our others do not. Now, one thing to note is that not all of the cervical vertebrae have a spiked spinous process. This is typical for C3 through C6, but C1, 2, and C7 don't have this. One thing that all cervical vertebrae have in common is that they have a series of 3 holes. We have our vertebral foramen in the center for the spinal cord, but then if we look at our transverse process, we can see these 2 transverse foramen on either side. Those are going to be carrying other blood vessels. Now, here's the way I remember this. 3 holes, C is the 3rd letter of the alphabet. So when you see 3 holes, you know that it's C, it must be cervical. Moving down into the upper back region, we find our thoracic vertebrae. Now the thing you notice about the thoracic vertebrae here, it's larger than the cervical vertebrae, but smaller than our lumbar vertebrae. Now it only has 1 hole, that tells us that it is not a cervical. And the way we tell that it's thoracic is we can look at the spinous process. The spinous process points very inferiorly and it's very slanted. But more importantly, if we look on the body, see this kind of smooth area here and this smooth area here? Or if we look at the transverse processes, we can see a smooth area here or a smooth area here. Those smooth areas are called costal facets. The costal facets are where the ribs articulate with the thoracic vertebrae. So if you see costal facets, you know it has to be a thoracic vertebra. Our last vertebra is a lumbar vertebra. Now, one thing I want you to do, again, compare size. Cervical has the smallest body, thoracic has a medium-sized body, and lumbar has a very large body. So with lumbar vertebrae, they have to bear the weight of essentially the upper limbs, the chest region, the neck, and the head, as well as the lower back, so they need a lot of support. Their spinous process is very thick because a lot of muscles attach here, and we can see that they only have 1 hole, the vertebral foramen. The other thing that I think is a little bit interesting, if we look at the articular processes, notice how the superior articular processes on the thoracic point straight back. We can see this if we look from the side. They point straight back, the inferiors point straight forward. This is important because this allows thoracic vertebrae to slide by one another a little bit. This is why you can twist in your upper back. But if we look at the articular processes on the lumbar vertebrae, notice how they're curled in for the superior articular processes and curled out. What this means is that the lumbar vertebrae lock together. They can't turn. So if you try to turn in your lower back, you'll notice you're unable to do that. The reason for this is this provides a lot of stability. It essentially locks the lumbar vertebrae together to provide extra support.